Hi there. Welcome to the We Are West Grand talk show. My guest today is Corey Kassib. She is the activities director at West Grand High School, along with being a classroom teacher. Hi, Corey. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing really well. Thanks for joining me today.
I'm happy to. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you have a very busy day, having been away yesterday for an AD meeting, so thanks for giving me a little bit of your time.
Of course.
Okay. So for our viewers who don't know, tell them a little bit about yourself. Obviously, this is your first year in West Grand, so what you've been doing up until this point in time, what you're teaching, all that kind of stuff.
I'm a Midwest girl, grew up in Illinois, and earned my first degree from Illinois State University in Park and Rec Administration. And so I dabbled in that for a couple of years. My parents always took us skiing out in Colorado, so I've always loved the mountains, and took some trips out here and decided after college to work for Vail Resorts. And decided then that teaching was my passion. My parents are both teachers. They just retired a couple of years ago. Dad 34 years, I think, and Mom 33. And so even though they tried to keep me out of education, I went back to the University of Northern Colorado and earned my K-12 PE licensure through there, and have been teaching at Summit High School for the last 12 years, teaching health and physical education. While I was there, I attended the University of Texas at Arlington and earned a master's degree in educational leadership and policy studies in case I wanted to pursue that as my career continues. And along the way, also worked on getting my national board certification. So I love constant learning, and I think I'm safe for a while since my kiddos are now in school. My husband said you need to take a break, but that was kind of my journey out to Colorado. And speaking of kids, I have two kids in the elementary school here. Grayson is 7 and in second grade, and Tenley is 4.5, she would say, and in full day preschool. So busy lady.
That's true, you are. Every time I see Grayson, he has to give me knuckles too. Every time I see him in the hallway.
He's an outgoing kid, yeah.
Yeah, he really is. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, and I know he's really enjoyed being over here in West Grand too. So.
He does. He loves it.
So you would actually be somebody. Hopefully, our students pay attention to the talk show and hear a little bit of your story, because you are a good example of someone who the first career you start into isn't necessarily the career that you're going to continue in, and I think there's more and more of that going on in society today. So so you're a great example for our kids.
Thank you.
In many ways. So so one of the things that I wanted to ask you about today, coming here to West Grand and taking on the role of activities director, activities and athletics, is one thing, but you're also teaching health. You're teaching PE, and the one that I'm most interested in is the course that you're teaching, the women's fitness class. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I would love to, but don't forget anatomy and physiology.
Anatomy and physiology, which I will never forget, because that's what I taught. It's near and dear to my heart. But yeah, women's fitness.
I love my women's fitness class. I get to see them 4 days a week for an hour each day, and our focus is lifetime activity. So I've introduced a lot of different movements that they can do for their lifetime. So with and without weights, not just always the typical you have to go lift weights, but learning how to use our body as a weight, learning how to take our heart rate and what our target heart rate zone is, and so they know that if they're burning calories versus fat and what they need to do in order to maintain. And so we've done station work where we've just created a couple stations and they move around for a couple minutes. We've done some HIIT training, which is high intensity training. I've introduced them to Zumba, and they've created their own Zumba routines. I've introduced them to yoga, and we are so fortunate being in a small community that we're in. We have Brenda Kellen, who is a local person, come in twice a month. The girls look forward to it. The first and third Thursday of the month, and she comes in and does yoga practice with them. So I also do yoga with them, but she is just an expert. And so it's nice for the kids to see that how she's had yoga be a part of her practice, and that how the girls can start now and have that a part of their practice in life, and learning about just deep breathing techniques and the importance of rounding yourself out with flexibility. And so we're doing a lot of different things, but we're also having a lot of fun. We'll sometimes use our phones, because most teenagers, not just girls, but most teenagers have their phones on them all the time. And I found an app that we can do on the computer where it'll play kind of like Just Dance, but they use their phone as a controller. And so everyone has a controller. And we're dancing, and then we'll stop and we'll pause and take our heart rate and make sure we're in our zone. And if not, then I'll ask the girls, well, what do we need to do to get there? And so they're able to answer that, and it's fun, and I love it too. So they can see me as an adult, the importance that exercise still has in my life, and then hopefully that's something that they'll continue, and since they're having fun, and find a passion for themselves.
That's awesome. What are you hearing as feedback from your students in that class?
Well, the yoga feedback, I'll tell the girls, oh yeah, it's the first Thursday, and they're like, yes, yoga this week, and so they're excited. And then with the Zumba, I had some local people come in, Amy Eller and Kim Davidson, and so they were super excited about that, and just learning about different outlets in our community. And so the girls, some of the things I've heard is that it's fun, which is good, but that they're also learning things. We do those cognitive pieces where I'll ask them, some different verbal questions, and making sure that they understand the different components of exercise, and health-related fitness components, and strength. And so even though they're learning and it's educational, it's kind of sneaky because they're still having fun and they're excited to see me every day, which makes me feel good. So I get both those pieces of learning and they're having fun. So
that's great. Do you have any of those kids also carry over into like your anatomy and physiology or anything like that? Because certainly there's some easy connections to make in the classroom with that.
Absolutely. I have a couple of the students in my anatomy and physiology class. I have another student in my health class, and there's obviously a lot of carryover between that. And then I have a couple of kids as advisees, or just being a small school that I just get to see them on a daily basis at lunch, and make those connections. And so, yeah, it's awesome.
So let's shift gears just a little bit. So a good portion of your day, any given day of the week, is spent not necessarily in the classroom or down in the gym, but up here in the office in your work as the activity and athletic director, and then also you do some discipline and attendance. So let's focus a little bit just on athletics for right now, because we just finished up fall sports, and even though maybe our fall sports season came a little short of the length of time we were hoping for, but still it was a great fall season. So what were some of your takeaways from this first season as an activities director?
It was exciting to be a part of a smaller program. With it being a smaller program, I think it has some challenges of its own, but a lot of successes. For instance, the volleyball team, there was so much growth that you could see because the smaller amount of girls on the team, there was more touches during practice, and there was more opportunity for that one-on-one conversation. And the coaches were really able to drive home the importance of what athletics can do for you on the court as well as outside of the gym. And the same goes for cross country and football. It was so exciting I got to go to both cross country's state competition and watch the girls run. And I'm a dork because, when the gun fires off the line, I still get chills and cry, even though it's not my kid on the line. But I'm just so proud of those kids and the work that they put in. And then the same for football. Football was a heartbreaker. The boys left their hearts out on the field. They did everything they could. I love seeing how Coach Brown interacts with those kids and the relationships that he's made over the last 30 plus years, and the amount of respect that the kids have for him and his coaching style. After the loss that night, I waited until every single person came off the field. I felt like it was important for them to know that I was there to support them as well as coach, and a couple of the guys were able to give me hugs, and makes you feel good that they're still able to see. Even one of the kids had said, they deserved that. They did a great job. And so it gives you pride in our sports and our athletics because, they've learned different character pieces, and it's not always about the win. The win really is nice, and I was hoping we'd go till Thanksgiving for sure. Yeah. But it's just been a really great experience this first season.
Yeah, they definitely had an outstanding season, and really all of our fall sports. Really, you're correct. I mean, there were some exciting things to see with volleyball, obviously with a new coach, and mostly a young team. There was a lot of growth that took place, and so exciting for for the girls team to make a trip to the state event. I mean,
Right.
that's really an exciting time.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah. So what now as we transition into the winter sports are you most looking forward to?
Oh, we have wrestling. We still have Spirit and Palm, and we have boys and girls basketball. Um, what am I most looking forward to? I don't know. That's
Not
a
being
tough
outside in
one.
the cold, maybe?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad,
No,
but
it wasn't bad.
yeah, I don't know. I do. I love basketball. I love the crowds that we get for basketball games, and I say we, even though I haven't been a part of the community. When I would come over, when Summit would play West Grand, I would come to those games, and it always inspired me and kind of put me in awe of the support we have with West Grand and our community and athletics. And almost we haven't had a win recently, West Grand over Summit, but man, they're close. And every time, even though I was at Summit, I was like, dang, that is awesome. I mean, we come from a school here of 115, 130 kids, and playing up to Summit, we had almost 1,200 kids, and the ability to keep up and compete, it was just always, I was like, man, I want to be a part of that school. I love that. I love the dedication that the kids have, and so I guess I'm looking forward to that. And then with wrestling, Grayson, my 7-year-old, has started wrestling, and so I enjoy learning more, and Brian Strathman is a great person to learn from, and so when I get points or they get points, I know what's going on, so that's exciting. And then cheer has some great things coming up. They're going to be at regionals on what is it, the 17th, I believe, so next weekend or this coming weekend, and then they're going to states in December, and so there's a lot of fun things to look forward to with them as well. They've been doing really great.
They really have. It's been interesting and exciting to see their numbers increase, to see them learning a lot of different routines in a very short period of time. Kudos to the coaching staff and kudos to the kids too, because they really are doing a great job. And I know they're definitely well supported, and it's exciting. It'll be really cool to see how they do as they go into regionals this weekend. So let's talk a little bit about the activity side, because there's a lot of different activities that happen here at West Grand High. So what do we currently have up and rolling, and what can we expect to see maybe from some of our activities?
Robotics is one that comes to the top of my head. This Friday night we have a tech night where kiddos can come and kind of explore the different parts of robotics. I know my kids are excited. There's laser tag and there's Legos and all sorts of things. So robotics is in full swing, and they have a scrimmage on Saturday. We also have honor band that was a couple kids got to participate in a couple weeks ago. We had a concert here at the high school that was both middle school and high school. I will admit that was my first concert I've ever gone to, and it was awesome. I got to see kids do things that I don't get to see, in the athletic world, and so that was fun. And there's something else I'm forgetting here. What else? Oh, we started book club at the high school. And I already talked about Spirit. There's probably more. The arts.
FFA steps to mind.
FFA, yes,
I know we
absolutely.
just had a student who went to the National FFA conference.
Yes.
And she's going to be a guest of mine on the talk show here in the next couple of weeks. We've already talked about it.
She had a phenomenal experience, and I even, just walking around, so my schedule, 2 of the days I'm teaching, the other 2 I'm admin AD, activities director, and so when I get to walk around and go into the classrooms, Emmy Lou is busy with her greenhouse, the plants are growing, and they're doing certain things, and so it's just, literally the halls are alive, Kids are always working on different projects, and I think that's part of the PBL too.
True.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So. It was kind of interesting, on Halloween with the Renaissance rally that you and Miss Bauer led, to see the number of kids that got recognized for being involved in something. And I would say, and this is not scientific by any stretch of the imagination, but just by observing, there couldn't have been but maybe 4 or 5 kids that were in the auditorium. So the entire student body, only maybe 4 or 5 kids did not get recognized on stage for something, because our kids here at West Grand are just flat involved.
Right. They are, and that's awesome, and that's another reason I'm just really excited to be here. And I'm thinking too, there's kids that weren't recognized for little things even that they do. Singing the national anthem at our last home football game, and it's just in some way or another, I think that we could recognize every single kid. Every single kid is involved, even the ones that you wouldn't think would be involved at times, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and so that brings to mind too another activity that I know you're involved in, and both the student council, but then also the Renaissance Club. So how do you see things progressing right now with both student council and Renaissance?
Student council, I think for most of us, we grew up with a student council, and it's typically your group that would organize your homecoming and your different events like that. And so Renaissance might sound new, but to some, but it's similar in the sense that it's about building school culture and climate, but doesn't have to be maybe through a class where you have elected officers and things like that. And so our Renaissance team is pretty new. And we're growing in exciting ways where it's just, if you walk around the school, you'll see little tags where people can grab a little positive thought or a compliment. And it's just about being inclusive of everyone. We've started Mad Props Mondays, where the Renaissance team said, yeah, we want to honor people for just little things. And so the kids can put a person's name down and say, so-and-so, said hi to me in the hall, and I didn't even know they noticed me. And it's just little stuff, and it can be anonymous, or you can sign your name. And same for teachers. They're honoring teachers. Miss Clark, I think, got a Mad Prop Monday last week. A student was just thankful that every time they walk in, she has a smile, and it's that's part of our Renaissance team. So similar but different than your Stuco, and it's exciting to see where we can go. I mean, the possibilities are endless with the Renaissance program.
Yeah.
So we're building. Building.
Oh, that's great. So the last question I have for you, obviously, having been in Summit for 12 years and living right between West Grand and Summit, I know your kids Grayson had been participating in wrestling and some of the Pee Wee stuff over here. You've told me numerous times that you really wanted to be a part of our school or of our district, not just in this interview, but you've told me that a lot of times. So now you're here, you've been a part of West Grand for however long it's been, 4 or 5 months. What's your favorite part of being a West Grand Mustang?
Oh, my favorite part is living in that community, the community within the school and the culture and the climate, and being accepted not only by the students but also by administration, by other staff members. I mean, it's you say community, but really it's a family, and I appreciate that, and it feels good, when you, not that I didn't feel that way at Summit, but we were close to like 1,200 kids, and you almost feel like you go unnoticed. So when you think about those kids in those big high schools that don't exist, it was almost like that, but I was a teacher. But I do miss and love my staff over there, but this is just, it's smaller and it's more quaint, and there's a lot of great opportunity and things going on, and the growth, and it's exciting to be a part of that. And so there's a lot of reasons why I'm loving to be a Mustang.
Yeah, I think it's great. I really do. And I will add too that Corey is the first person to have props for us here, actually on the set, and of course she insisted on the David Ross book appearing. So if you're keeping score at home, this is 2 Cub fans that I have interviewed. I am not a Cub fan, but apparently I just keep running into Cub fans everywhere I go. So
those Midwest peeps.
There you go. I'm actually a Red Sox fan, and they won the World Series. So just saying.
Well, it's time to cut this off.
Right? There you go. Yeah, probably is. So thank you for joining us, Corey. Thank you for being my guest on the show, and we are West Grand.